Alright guys, a simple project for today. We're going to be building this help center card, and for the actual card session I'm going to be using Flexbox just because I think it's going to be faster, and it's also something that I haven't done on this channel. I've been using Grid for all the other projects, so today I'm going to be using Flexbox. And right away I have in my style.css I have set up the primary color, which is the same as this background color, as well as the text color, and as well as the button color right here. And the secondary color is for this I don't know whether you can see this background color. That's for the secondary color, and for the card color I'm just going to use the white color. So I just have a simple template in my workspace right here with the actual card and index.html and the style.css. So right away guys, let's get to it. Let's start by generating a simple HTML template, and then let's link our style sheet, and then let's call this help center card. Now for the H1 right here, it won't be inside a container, just because I'm going to place both this and this to text align center, so I won't have to add another container. But for this I'm going to have to place it in a container just so that I can add a background color for it. So let's do that, and I'm going to say div with the class of let's say title, and I'm going to say with the H1 saying what can we help you with, and an input with the type of search. Now I'm not going to use this search icon just because I think it will be too much of a hassle to just import font awesome for one thing. So I'm not going to place the search icon, and I'm going to say placeholder saying find anything, and just like that we're done with this title. Now let's move on to the container. Div with the class of container, and inside I'm going to place another div, or not, I'm going to just say h3 saying top questions, and then I'm actually now going to place another div saying now for this I'm going to call this articles. I'm going to give it a class of articles, and inside articles I'm going to place one div saying with let's give it a h4 tag saying about actions, and then I'm just going to copy this down, copy this down 3 more times, and for this I'm going to say managing packages, I can't type today. For this I'm going to say authentication, and for this I'm going to say notifications. Once we're done with that, I'm also going to add another div for this. Now this looks like a footer. Should I call it a footer? No. Oh, maybe yes. Let me just add a footer here. Just add a footer with a class of footer, and inside the footer I'm going to have a div with an there's about an h4, h5. Let me say h5 just so I can style it differently. I'm going to say documentation, and inside this we're going to have an unordered list with links. How many links are there? There are 3 links, each with an anchor tag, and then we're going to say help enterprise server, and for this last one we're going to say desktop. Now this is what I'm going to copy down. I'm going to copy this down 3 more times, and for the second one we're going to say community and education and atom and forum. The next one is news, then blog and change log, log and status, and the last one is learning, and this is lab, and this is guides, and the last one, sorry, is resources. Now below the footer, but within the same container, I'm going to add a div with a class of more, or rather more info, just to make it more descriptive. And then I'm going to say it has a tag of h2 saying can't find what you're looking for, and I'm going to add a button below it saying contact us. And just like that, we can open this with live server, so you can begin styling it, and we can get this, and we can head over to our CSS. Let's add some global variables and say for the margin let's have 0 margin, for the padding let's have 0, and for the box sizing let's say border box. Because we don't have images, but we do have one button, I'd like to style it, so I'm going to say button has a background color of primary color, it has a text color of white, and white, and what else, it doesn't have a border. Oh no, let me just place a border for the hover effect, border solid and primary color, and then I'm going to say let's give it a padding of 15 pixels. No, that's too much, maybe 10 pixels on the top and bottom and 15 pixels left and right. Let's also give it a margin of about 150 pixels, and for the hover we're going to target this, and we're going to say for the hover, let's say the background color should be transparent. Let's say the border should be 2 pixels, solid and prep. Okay, it's already defined up here, so you won't have to define it again. And I'm going to say I want a pointer cursor on hover, like that. Let's also add a border radius right here, a border radius of about, how much is this, 4 pixels, like that. And for the hover I want the color to be the primary color, like that. And then for the button, let's say font family to inherit. Then let's actually define the body right here, and we'll say the font family for the body to be, what's this font called, is it Apple, this one? And then we can also say for the body, let's add a transition effect here, transition the background color by 0.4 seconds, like that. For the body, let's set a background color on the body of primary color, and for the container, just so that it doesn't confuse me, for the container let's say a background color of white, like that. Let's also add some padding on the container, and say padding of this is about, let me just confirm, it's about 50 all round. Let's say just try 50 all round, 50 pixels all round. And then for the UL, let's remove the bullets and we'll say list style type to be none, and for the anchor tags let's say text decoration to be none as well. And then we can now begin styling this. Let's push this to the center. Let's give the body a maximum width. The body, let's say, should have a max, okay, not on the body. Let me just check this out a bit. For the div with the class of title, yeah, right there. For the div with the class of title, let's say text align center. This will bring it to the center. Let's add padding about 50 pixels on the top and bottom, and we say 0 on the left and right. Now for the title, let's place the color to be white, and then we can target the H1 on the title, and say the title H1 should have a padding bottom of about 30 pixels, just so it pushes down from the input. And then we'll say for this input, now let's target the input for the title, and say the input, let's say a padding of 12 pixels, let's say a width of 200 pixels, and then let's add a border radius of 4 pixels like the button. Okay, and then let's target the placeholder so we can change this text, and we can do that by selecting the inputs like this and using a double colon and saying placeholder, which will target the placeholder, and we'll say the font family to inherit. Now what you'll see is that the placeholder text will change, but the input text won't change. So I'd also like to target this the inputs, and say the font family for the input should also change like that. See that now it conforms to the same font family that we have on the body. Now what I'd like to do next is now begin to style let me just remove the border here, border to none, like that. Now let me begin to style this container, and of course, as you can see, it is limited, so I'm just going to limit it by adding a max width on it. So the container, I'm going to say move this up, move this down, and to say a max width of 800 pixels and a margin of auto, so that it centers to the center. That's too little. You can say 900 pixels, and we can also add a padding on the bottom, not on the bottom, sorry. Let's add some let me just try adding a margin top of 0 here and margin bottom of 50 pixels. Yeah, that works, just so that I can scroll this and I can see the background color down here. Let's also add a border radius of the container, and we're going to say border radius of, how much is this, 5 pixels on the container. And then now we can begin to style this. Now let me target this header right here, so that I can text align center and just leave it at that. And I'm going to say, what class is it in, with the container h3. Now the container has multiple h3s, or not only one. Okay, so I'm just going to say the container h3 to text align center. This will bring it to the center like that, and I'm going to say padding on the bottom to be 20 pixels, so you can push down from this. Now we can begin to style these first the first links that we saw here, and we can do that by targeting them. From the HTML, they have a class of articles. So in the container, with the class of articles, we can say display flex, align item center, and justify content center. This will place them in raw form to the center. Let me save like that. And then we can, because we want to have spaces within them, I can say I can target the divs inside the articles class. So I can come and grab this and target the divs and say margin on the left and right, 0 on the top and bottom, on the left and right about 30 pixels, like that. Now what you'll notice is that they have a font weight of about 300, so I'm just going to change that again. They are h4s inside the div, so I'm going to grab this and target the h4s, and I'm going to say a font weight of 300, like that. Now you'll also notice that they have a border around them, so I'm just going to add that on the h4s, and I'm going to say, not on the h4s but on the divs, and I'm going to say, let's say a border radius, not a border radius but a border of let's say about 2 pixels and solid, and we're going to say the secondary color. Just see that? Okay, right there. And in addition to that, we can also add some padding just so that the border is pushed outwards. I'm going to say padding of 20 pixels like that. Now another thing you'll notice is that when you look at this, you'll see that these words overlap. The reason for that is because I have a margin and I also have a padding. So I just come back to this and reduce this to about 5 pixels, and that would be nice. Now the next thing I'd like to do is to add a border radius. Let me just try and zoom in. To add a border radius to this, just so that it can look nicer, and we do that by coming here and saying a border radius of 5 pixels like that. The next thing I'd like to do is now add some padding on the bottom right here, on the bottom of these divs. Not really padding but margin on the bottom of these divs. So I can say margin on the top here to be 0, 5 pixels on the right, and about 20 pixels on the bottom, and like that. Let's say 30 pixels, and 30 pixels looks nice. So the next thing I'd like to do is now align this, not align but display this as flex, so that it goes in raw form. Now let me just confirm what tags these are. It's a footer tag, so we'll just go inside the container and we'll say for the footer, let's say display flex, and we'll say align tenet center and justify content center. Justify content center. And the next thing I'd like to do is add the same padding up here and the same margin so that they are aligned perfectly with this. But let me just align this to the center right here. It's a more info class, so I'm just going to say for the container and for the more info class, I'm going to say text align center like that. Now let's go back to the footer, and I'm going to say for the footer has tags, has divs inside. So I'm going to grab this and add for the divs inside. I'm going to say what did I do here? I said a padding of 20 pixels above here, and I also said margin of 5 pixels on the left and right. So I'm going to say a margin of 0 on the top, 5 pixels on the left and right, and for the bottom I'm also going to say 30 pixels. Let's see that. Alright, so next I would like to add a bit more margin to these divs just so that they can push aside from one another. If you look at this picture, you can see they are almost aligned. So let me just add a margin on the left and right of about 20 pixels. And yeah, that actually looks nice. So I'm going to style these headers first and change the colors of these links. So let me just confirm they are H5s. So I'm just going to grab this and say for the H5s, I'm going to say let them have a font size of about 24 pixels. Is that enough? That's too big. Let's say 18. And let me just see this. 15. Okay, 16 pixels. And then I'm going to text transform them to uppercase. Uppercase. And then okay, that's still too big, so 14 pixels. Okay, 12 pixels, 13 pixels. I'm just going to leave it at that, and then I'm going to say what else. Now for the links, I'm also going to add some margin on the bottom here for the header, so I'm going to say margin bottom of about 10 pixels. Let me just see how that looks. Okay, then let's get the links, and they're inside the divs with the another list. So I'm going to grab this, or rather I could just okay, let's just do this. Grab this, grab the ULs, the li and the links, and we say the color should be for the primary color. And let's also come and grab this so we can add some spacings to it, and we'll say margin on the top and bottom to be 10 pixels and the left and right to be 0. And then let's reduce the font size of the links to about 12 pixels. Let's see how that looks. That looks nice. Let's say this is 13 pixels. This is 13, and that looks nice. So next we're going to just add a little bit of margin to this header, which will push this down, and then we'll be done with the desktop version, and then we can begin adding media queries. So let me just grab that. It's more in for H2, so I'm going to grab this and say for the H2 tag, let's add a margin bottom of 20 pixels, just like that, and we will be done with the desktop version of this. So we can begin to scale it down. Let me just confirm the container. What width did I place on the container? It's about 900 pixels, so we can begin scaling down from 900 pixels. So let's do this. When you look at this actually still looks pretty nice, but I would like to add some more of margin here, or reduce the container width, just so that the background color can be visible on the left and right. So what I will do is, let's say for a max width of 900 pixels, I will say let the container have margin on the top and bottom to be 0, and on the left and right to be 30 pixels. This will add this margin right, the margin on the right and left on the container. Just like that, you can see it scales down. It scales down until we're going to style this a bit just so we can display it in column form. And what else would I like here? Let me just confirm where this begins to go. So this is about 700 pixels, so I'm just going to say that for about a tablet size, about a max width of 768 pixels, I'm going to say, what are these links? These are articles, right? About actions. Okay, in the articles tag. So I'm just going to grab the articles. In the articles div, why did I display this as flex right here? Okay, so I'm going to say let's add a flex wrap right here, a flex wrap, so that once they take up the whole space of the window, they'll automatically go to the next line. When you save that, you see that it automatically goes to the next line. Even when you push it down like that, automatically to the next line. Now for this, I would like for this last one to be on the next line as well, so I'm going to display this as grid once it reaches a width of 500 pixels and below. And we can do the same for this. So let's just go and say, where is display flex? Let's just find this, and it's right here, and we can add flex wrap of wrap as well. And just like that, you can see it is looking much better, and you can see it scales down, and it scales down very, very nicely. Now for this, I don't want this to be appearing side by side, so I'm just going to change for the footer and the articles. Once I can move this, or I can change this to about 500 pixels, and I'm going to say for the container and for the articles class, and for the container once again, and for the footer, I want to display grid with grid template columns of 1 fractional each. This will put them in a column form with 1 fractional column for each one of them, like that. You can see it looks very nice. But now I'd like to place this to the center, so I will say um, place items to the center like that, and it looks very nice. Another thing I like to do is just align these links to the center, just so that on a mobile phone, links are better aligned to the center. They are more appealing when they are on the center. So I'm just going to grab the links on the footer. Where did I style them? Right here. Or rather, I can do something like I can grab this and I'll save for the footer, then let the text align to the center. Oh my god, center like that. And yeah, I think this looks very nice for a mobile screen. Let me just reduce the font size of this, and I can say where is it. It's on the title, so the title, each one, let's go up here, and let's say for the title, each one I can say let it have a font size of 24 pixels. That looks nice. And I can also reduce this, so it's on which tag is it? It's on more info. So let me just grab this or this, and I can say for the more info tag, let font size be 22 or 20 pixels, just so it can be smaller than this. And it looks nice. It looks nice. Excuse me. Now one more thing, let me just add a hover effect for this, just so that it can transition a bit, you can put a kind of animation on it. So I'm going to go up here and grab this, and just below it I'm going to say for the hover effect, let the border bottom be 2 pixels, dotted, and the primary color. Just see how that looks. Yeah, I think that's nice. That's nice. So it actually provides some sort of an indication that you are on a certain link. And yeah, I think that's it for this project. It looks very nice, and I've just realized that these may be links, so that when you click this, it will maybe take you to the documentation section only, and this will take you to the community. So you can add that by adding an ID maybe to the documentation and linking that to an hyperlink reference, an href which targets this, so that when a user clicks this, it can scroll down to this automatically. I might do that in a later project, but that's it for today, guys. So please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and welcome back for more videos, and thank you for watching.